It was rightly said by Oxford economist Kate Raworth that a healthy economy should be designed to thrive, not grow. Nowadays, many people are starting to lose faith in the way our economy functions. Did you know that no matter how well educated or highly skilled you are, statistically, you are less likely to earn a higher income than your parents? Or that worldwide, only the top 10% possesses more than 70% of the wealth and more than 40% of the entire population lives in poverty? So how do we change the way our economy functions? Let's find out in this episode of Insightful with Ep.Log Media. I'm sure we've all heard of climate change and the impending doom we are going to face. But despite all of us switching to paper straws and cloth bags, we still hear about how the situation is only getting worse. So why is it that no matter how much effort we all take, we're still failing? A simple answer would be the way our economy functions. That is, through capitalism. And it is so deeply embedded in our society. But what is capitalism? To simply explain, capitalism is an economic and political system in which a country's properties, businesses, and industries are controlled by private citizens rather than by the government. In easier words, it can be called the free market. The main motive of capitalism is profit. Nobody enters an industry with an aim to do good in the world. Everyone is here to make their own gains. For instance, farmers don't grow food to feed us. They grow it so that they can sell it to us for their own profit. Both parties, that is we and the farmers, have engaged in an exchange transaction to fulfill our own needs. Doesn't this sound exactly like the way we live right now? That is because it's true. We all live in a capitalist society. Now, capitalism as a concept began with good intention, but today it is also directly contributing to the rich getting richer, the poor getting poorer, and causing extreme environmental damage. But wait a minute, aren't billionaires and large companies all over the world fighting for the environment and trying to reduce poverty? Then how is it that research shows that every year our problems are only getting worse? This is because what these powerful people claim to do or are going to do is just not being done fast enough or being done at all. Even governments refuse to implement stricter policies on climate control and wealth distribution because it would mean a loss of profits and a weaker economy. Now, how did we come to this point? Where did capitalism come from? Let's go back to the 1800s, during the era which we now know as the Industrial Revolution. The development and use of new heavy-grade machinery made the production of essential goods like food crops and clothes much cheaper, faster, and of better quality. And so businessmen were enjoying more profits than ever. But to power these machines, they needed coal. So the use of coal grew very high. This resulted in harmful greenhouse gases being emitted and high levels of non-biodegradable waste being produced. The automatic machines meant that factories did not require as much human labor as before. So unemployment rates soared. Soon enough, to meet high demand, companies began compromising with the quality of their products. For instance, many milk companies committed fraud by adding water or harmful chemicals like melamine into their milk to meet the high demand. This not only decreased the nutritional value of the milk, but also caused additional health risks for consumers. Despite the ever-increasing problems and dangerous methods of production, the businessmen chose wealth and profits over the protection of society. And so, for the past 200 years since the Industrial Revolution, the same methods of production and conducting business have continued ever since. New jobs have come and gone when someone invents a new machine that can finish the job faster and doesn't need to be paid. And the only one that profits from this are the richest of the rich. This capitalist agenda has caused the gap between the rich and the poor to increase by more than 10% since 1980. So if there is so much that is wrong with capitalism, why do I say that we should continue living in a capitalist society? This is because In comparison to a communist society, capitalism is by far the most liberating economic structure to live in. The opposite of privately owned businesses would be government-owned businesses. History has taught us that when we let governments control the economy, it can lead to the formation of a monopoly, which may not fulfill all of society's needs. Let's take the case of communist Russia. The lack of a free market in Russia led to vast shortages of basic needs such as food supply and electricity, all due to the government's mismanagement. Since everything was under government control, there was no incentive for people to pursue their own interests, and individual rights were pretty much non-existent. Those who spoke against the communist rule were killed, and it is estimated that 84 million people died in Russia because of this. For these reasons, communism has proven that when we give an entity too much power, corruption is bound to happen. Capitalism provides incentive and motivation for everyone to initiate, innovate, and improve at their own pace, at their own will. It helps in the efficient allocation of resources such as capital, labor, and natural capital in areas where there is potential to utilize them and make profits, which builds a stronger economy. So why does capitalism need to change? Many view capitalism as an exploitive and inhumane system. From a young age, capitalist propaganda has taught us that work is good, leisure is bad, and the more money we have in the bank account, the happier and more successful we are. I'm sure all of us observed during COVID-19 how so many people lost their jobs and economies fell, but billionaires were earning more than ever. But at the same time, many infected people couldn't receive the necessary medical care due to the profit-seeking capitalists charging high prices for those facilities. Why is this? Capitalism has made a select few people very rich and the others very poor. The system has been molded to benefit the richest and the most powerful and attack the most vulnerable. Now, capitalists may be able to overpower us humans, but there is one force who isn't going to stand for this much longer. That is the environment. Capitalism is a major investor in climate change. Its drive for profits can be more important than the health of the natural world. Since 1988, just 100 companies have caused 71% of the global greenhouse gas emissions by using scarce fossil fuels, and they make billions in profit. But they barely pay their workers the minimum wage. Many of these companies claim to try and be more eco-friendly by showing a united front, but fail to meet their own promises. So how can we live in an ethical capitalist society? It is extremely important that we act fast. It's been predicted that if the current scenario doesn't change in the recent future, society could collapse by 2040. As we talked about earlier, the core of capitalism is increasing profit. So we need to change the rules. We all deserve the right to choose and to not have to fight to afford basic needs, while others have a surplus of everything. We need to knock down the doors of the powerful people and make them enforce a change. Governments should enforce stricter laws that hold major corporations accountable and promote equality and sustainability. But if we think about it, in some respect, us consumers and voters are the people in control, because we are the ones that determine the success of a brand. We have the power to say no and can refuse to comply with the existing norms. We can shop differently by using a trick called conscious consumerism. Conscious consumerism is when we shop in ways that creates a positive social, environmental, and economic impact. In this, we not only buy from brands that are ethical, but also boycott certain brands when their methods of business don't align with our beliefs. If we use this trick, companies will have to switch to sustainable means of business. After all, they only sell what their customers want or need. If just one company starts making an effort to be better, then others will have no choice but to follow in pursuit. Let's not forget, this is a team effort. Everybody needs to change their habits. If we all work together, we can create a new capitalist world that is fairer, sustainable, and one that keeps the well-being of the poor and the future generations in mind. Like this episode? If you have become insightful with us and want to receive more insights like this, subscribe now. Wisdom grows when you share. So be a good netizen and share this episode in your network.